Good evening and welcome to Game Honey episode 85. The time flies. It's almost 2018. We are nearing 100 episodes. Well, nearing. Well, yeah, I guess we are.
Makes us officially the longest running show on the internet.
Longest running podcast on the internet, confirmed. Welcome back to Game Honey podcast. This week, I'm of course joined by my co-host, Polar, who you can find on Twitter at
KumaGumaPolar.
Yeah, but we're also joined once again by the great, the one, the only, Adam.
Yay! It's me. Man,
thanks for being back on.
It
that
is.
sounded so anticlimactic. The one and only
Adam? I thought there was going to be something else.
Sorry,
Really?
the one, the great, the Adam Bolton. I should have just come
Sure,
out and
sure, you can go both names. That's fine.
Just leave it
I
for
thought-
the audience
I
to
thought
whisper.
we were on a first name basis at this point, but my apologies. Yeah, for those of you who missed the previous episode, Adam is located in Tokyo.
Yep.
And is a what you would call a video game journalist, among other things.
Among other things, yeah.
Among other things, yeah.
Not so much these days, but it's still there. I still dip in every now and again.
In any case, you are definitely a player of video games, no?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Well, that's the most important thing. That's all you need to have a valid opinion on this podcast. So we are known for our very well thought out
Fact-based
arguments here. In any case, let's jump right in and start with something. Oh, by the way, yeah, I'm your host.
Who are you?
Panda, also known as Tywink. You can find me on Twitter at Tywink. You can find the podcast as a whole on Twitter at GameHoneyGame. And of course, apologies to our guest. You can find Adam at
Ads in Japan on Twitter. That's ADS
There you
in
go.
Japan.
So go follow those Twitter accounts if you haven't already. So to start off, we're going to talk about something that I haven't played. So how about that? Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
Ooh,
Or is it Xenoblade 2
Just-
Chronicles?
just Xenoblade 2.
2 Chronicles
Just
Xenoblade.
Xenoblade 2.
2 Xenoblade 2 Chronicles,
Uh,
I think it's called.
Yeah, it says on the show notes Xenoblade 2
Xenoblade
Chronicles,
2,
and then it says
the
Xenoblade Chronicles 2.
chronicling. 2 Xeno,
So-
2 Blade.
It came out last week, I believe.
It sure did.
Like a few days ago. Yeah.
And it seems that while I haven't played it yet, the two of you have immersed yourself in the cloud sea with the giant monsters and the weirdly proportioned anime girls. So let's hear what you have to say on it. How much have both of you been playing?
Let me state my case.
Go ahead.
I will go first. No, I didn't play that much yet. I played, I think I'm about 4 hours in. So, I just got past the first wide open area, and I'm in the first town now. Or I guess it's the second town. That's where I'm at. How about you, Adam? You seem to be a little bit farther than I am.
Yeah, I mean, it's the new big thing, so I've kind of invested a little bit more time. Not so much. Between 12 and 15 hours.
Okay. So
I mean,
So
like,
you'd say you're like 2%
RPG
in?
lengths, we're talking like, yeah, a drop in the ocean.
yeah. Yeah, and this game is apparently pretty
yeah.
long as well, so you've barely scratched the surface here.
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So going by 12 to 15 hours, I'm taking that you are enjoying your time with it.
Yeah, it's good fun. Like you said, there are a lot of disproportionate anime characters in there. It's very anime, but hey, I live in Japan, can't get away from it. It's fine.
Gotta embrace the anime.
Yeah, it's pretty good. The story's interesting. I never really played the previous Xenoblade games.
It's not
I've been
really
told
connected.
by our resident Xenoblade expert, controller that you don't have to.
No,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
really don't.
there's still like a kind of, I feel like there's kind of like a little bit of backstory or like information about the world that it's like the first of the franchise I'm getting into. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
but really, it's called Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. But it's really not, as far as I've played, at least, it's really not connected to the first one in any way. And the world is different too. Like the general concept is the same. In the first one, you were the world consisted of these two big titans, but
yeah, it was two last time. This is now
yeah.
more.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them. They seem to have reworked the formula a little bit. Like you have the same kind of what would you call them? The same races. Like you have the Nopon and sort of humans. Yeah, you had humans in the previous game as well.
The cat people.
I don't actually remember if you had cat people. I don't think that you did.
Really? They didn't have that trope? Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why people are a little bit upset with the way they designed the characters in this game, is that they went full anime, just firing in all cylinders. Cat people.
Well, I think one reason they're not too happy about it is how disproportionate some of these characters are getting.
Yeah.
I saw a few screenshots here and there.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I don't want to look at those screenshots. Not because I'm repulsed, it's like, don't spoil anything for me.
Yeah.
I want to go, what are those? When I see them. But no,
Be
like
surprised.
like game mechanic wise, I'm enjoying it. It feels it's light on mechanics. Say like Final Fantasy 15 was, that it doesn't take a great deal of your involvement to like input commands into combat. But there's this whole kind of rhythm thing when you have to like time your certain combinations of attacks, and it starts to get a lot more complicated later on. So I'm starting pulled into a few more mechanics
learn,
now.
hard to master.
Yeah, for sure. You could just let them fight, but like a team versus one enemy might drag out ridiculously long if you just let them just chip away at something. So there's an element of involvement in there.
Yeah, I've already noticed this a little bit, but if you start picking fights with enemies that are a little bit stronger and a couple of levels above your size, you do have to be careful, because they can wipe your party if you're not careful, if you don't time it right.
It's not like typical Western RPGs where you hit a certain kind of level and you're like, oh, now this enemy is close to close to me. I can take them on. It's like, oh, in Xenoblade 2, like the level disparity is, it's quite significant, even between.
Yeah,
one
I
and
mean,
two or
I'm
two or
sure you've
three,
noticed, like in the very first field that you venture into, there are like level 97 monsters in there.
Oh yeah, they just throw everything together, and you have to walk. You have to tiptoe around these giant monstrosities.
Yeah, to me that
Because
really
one
helps
look
with
at you and they will
the
just
world building.
swat you like a fly.
They will one hit you, definitely.
Yeah.
It's an interesting approach to world building.
No, it's been that way since the first game. Yeah, I personally really like it. That there are these big monsters wandering around. I mean, it's not like you can't get around them. It's not they.
It just doesn't make sense that you would gate off nature.
Yeah.
I mean, there are squirrels in the woods. There's also bears and wolves.
Where do you live?
Yeah. Well, just
maybe the occasional dinosaur.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it's a nice approach, because it does make more sense. Like, why would there be only weak monsters in one part of the world and then only like super strong monsters in another part of the world? World building wise, it does make a lot more sense.
Applaud the diversity on display. But
yes.
Adam, you so you're enjoying it all right, it seems. Not blowing you.
Yeah, for sure. There's like I like the level of collecting you have to do. You have like your driver characters, your characters that can equip blades, and these blades are like personified weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they have this. It's not like Pokemon levels, but you're constantly finding new allies. Some are very generic and they just do the job. Some are unique, and you're chasing those rare ones down because they are quite powerful and they're all very well designed. They're all kind of cool looking or have extra unique features to them. So
yeah,
I
that's
like
what I
that
understood.
aspect for
I
sure.
didn't get to that point.
I'm chasing
yet,
that a lot right now.
Yeah, there seems to be a
Finding those
whole lot of
rares.
different ones. So I'm looking,
So are
I'm
those
looking
all
forward to getting to that.
new side quests or something?
No, it's not really side quests. It's like
Or is it randomized?
you will find these different grades of crystals, right? I can't remember the exact terminology for them.
Or crystals, I think they're called.
Yeah, core crystals. And some are just common, and some will be rare. You're not guaranteed you're going to get a rare weapon, personified weapon out of it. But, you may get lucky and draw out one of these kind of special types that, that are worth keeping.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's all entirely rare. I have friends who've only just they haven't even got their first rare, blade yet. And they put 20 hours into it. And me, within the first 7 or 8 hours, I've got 5 of them.
Oh, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I
So
hear that.
doesn't it feel a little bit unbalanced then if you have that many?
Well, I think the grades or the quality of these the characters you unlock, if you are a low level, then they're going to be roughly the equivalent level to you as well.
Okay.
So you're not losing out too much. You're missing out on having a unique looking character that has a few extra features, but most of the time, I mean, you've got your primary one that you get at the beginning of the game that does its job as well.
It sounds like it's stepping more into that collector's mentality. So people that really want it, they can go nuts, but you really don't have to.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to that point. I am. So, if I may, I'm enjoying it as well. I think it started off pretty strong. Like nothing too bombastic, but I actually liked getting to know the main character a little bit. It didn't. I mean, it's really typical shonen anime kind of tropey things going on, but I don't know. I generally like the characters with some questionable designs aside. So I think it really started off pretty quickly, although it does hit you over the head with tutorials every other second.
Yeah, that first hurdle. Yeah.
Yeah, from what I heard, that'll keep going for. I mean, I'm 4 hours in now, and it's still happening. I don't think it's too bad.
It pops up every now and again. Now I'm coming into new features during combat. They'll say, "Ding, here's what you can do now. Press this button to do it now."
Yeah, it's pretty layered.
It's gone. But at the very beginning, yes, you're taking 5 steps, tutorial wall.
Yes.
And just they'll just throw them at you.
Yeah. So
no, it's not that.
I didn't really mind it too much because I think the music is very good. I really liked the world that they were building. It actually starting it up, it gave me Skies of Arcadia vibes, which is something that I'm sure that Panda will also appreciate.
Yeah.
But hearing your impressions now, Adam, I get the feeling that you haven't been playing in handheld mode too much. Is that correct?
I was going to ask about that. Yeah.
No, I haven't. Not so much. I mean, I do every now and again. When I'm away from the house, I'm like, if I've got some time, like half an hour, I'll play a little bit.
But because I've been playing...
mostly hooked up to my TV.
I've been playing exclusively in handheld mode, and the first time I hit a big open field, it was not a pretty sight.
Oh.
Because it... I think you have it actually... when you have the Switch docked, you have the same type of effect, the dynamic scaling, which is also used by Zelda and Mario, but it's extremely noticeable here. If you go on my Twitter feed, I posted a couple of pictures there.
I think I saw that one actually. Yeah.
But it's super blurry. It's nowhere near native resolution, and it really looks like a smear on your Switch's screen.
Yeah, I feel like they have this weird depth of field going on as well.
Yeah, it's also just that the resolution is super low. I don't know what it is exactly. I hope that Digital Foundry will be able to tell us a little bit more about that, but yeah, it's not anywhere close to native, and I gotta say it's impacting my enjoyment a little bit.
When everything's up in your face and you're seeing these characters, it looks fantastic. But yeah, when you're pulled out on that small screen, and because the world is like these fields are so vast and everything's moving around and just hunting and all that stuff. Yeah, you kind of start blending in with everything a little bit too much.
Yeah, which is strange to me because Xenoblade on the Wii and Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U, they both looked great and really didn't suffer from any major performance hiccups. But this one, it's really noticeable to the point that it's affecting my enjoyment of the game a little bit, because the game is supposed to be about appreciating these lush worlds, which is when they look like that.
Get out a handheld mode then.
Yeah, I don't have a TV at the moment. That's
well.
That is a problem, which will
go
hopefully
to the department store and just hook it up to the TV there.
Yeah, that'll work. I'll play for 10 minutes at a time. I'll report back in 2 years when I finish the game.
It might take me that long as well, by the way.
Just live in the Yodobashi camera.
Yeah, I really hope they patch it though. And Nintendo has been supporting Zelda
it's only
pretty
been a few
well.
days, I'm sure they're working on.
Yeah, but
regular bug fixes from this point.
In my opinion, it shouldn't have been pushed out the door in this state. It's pretty unacceptable.
That bad?
Yeah, it looks really bad.
So, just in short, to round up the two of you, your quick impressions: get it, but don't play it in handheld mode.
I'd say that.
Yeah, Adam, I wanted to ask you because I've been reading some reports that the game really struggles in dock mode as well, like some major performance dips and.
Struggle? No, I mean, I feel like these days some people are just a little bit too critical of visuals. I mean, I can overlook a lot of stuff if the game plays there, and playing it, I haven't hit. There's been like really brief, like millisecond, like moments where maybe something hasn't. Maybe you turned into a room, or you're moving the camera around, or something. But I wouldn't say it's ever like game breaking or immersion breaking. I haven't had any significant hang-ups or frame rate drops, because the game is already gliding pretty fast in itself, that whatever drops there are, it's still well above 30 frames.
I think it's max 30 frames. It never goes above.
Is it max 30 frames? Man, yeah. It feels more fluid in moments though. So I can't say it's too noticeable, but then maybe other systems, maybe I'm noticing it differently.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I'm a particular snob when it comes to graphical fidelity. I played Horizon on a 4K OLED TV the other day, and I thought it looked great. But if you put me in front of a 1080p TV, I honestly don't know if I could tell the difference. The same with Zelda, which is 900p. I honestly wouldn't know. You can tell me that's 1080p, and I wouldn't know the difference. But in handheld mode, at least for Xenoblade, I can see that this is super blurry, and I can see that it doesn't look nice. And from what I heard, in dock mode as well, it goes below 720p, which would, I think I'd be able to tell if I were to play the game on a big screen. But it sounds like you haven't really noticed that yet, or it hasn't been that bad for you.
Yeah, like the game, like the game's visual style is it's a very kind of bright, kind of diffused kind of color palette already. Everything is very glowing and neon.
Mm-hmm.
That if there are any drops in resolution, like this kind of diffusion of light and color, I don't really notice it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just
to be
playing the
fair,
game.
most of the complaints are about the handheld version. So I'm hoping if all goes well, I'll be getting a TV later this week. So
Yeah.
that should smoothen out my my experience a little bit. But yeah, it's to me it's obvious that this game had to meet a deadline, and they weren't able to iron out these particular kinks, which is a shame.
I have one last question to both of you before we move on to other video game related stuff. And that is, I believe from the screenshots I saw on Twitter that Polar, you're playing the Japanese version. That I know for sure.
Yes.
But Adam, it seemed like you were playing the English version.
Yeah, I downloaded the English version from the US Nintendo Store, and I immediately downloaded the Japanese language pack for it.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask. I heard some good things about
I hear
the
mixed
English
things
voice
about
acting
it,
as well.
Some people say it's good, some people say it's terrible.
No, I mean, I've like all of the trailers I saw from Xenoblade 2, I was like, wow, this game looks great, but it sounds horrendous. I don't know if I'm going to buy it. And for a long time I was like, oh man, everybody's talking about this game. I'm sitting here really on the fence about it because the voice acting just sounds so horrendous to me. Like, I think my biggest problem, again, because, hey, I'm from England, I hear a lot of these, like, fairly heavy, kind of phoned-in, like, local dialects from England. I'm just like, it just doesn't match these very anime-looking characters.
Sure.
Actually, that's one thing. I do think that it's not as good in this game, or at least that's what I heard, that it's not as good as in this game as it was in the first Xenoblade. But the first one was actually praised for it, for the voice acting, and it also had these British acters who are really hamming it up in places.
I can even stand the lead voice from Xenoblade.
The first one?
No, he was just way too gobby for me.
Yeah, that one.
Might.
It's almost universally praised.
Some enemies, but no. From England, these are people just down the road from me, like really local, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, but is it for us non-natives?
Is it that it's bad, that it doesn't match the world, or is it that the performances aren't good?
It's a little bit of both. Because I've noticed, because I've got the Japanese voices to the English subtitles, I feel like was it localized in England? Because there's a lot of like English terminology there as well.
It might be. I know the first one was actually localized by Nintendo of Europe, so this might be a similar case.
That would be Germany then, probably.
But it was just like, it's still a big problem for me.
But I can kind of say the same thing about the Japanese though. Even though the Japanese voice acting is good, you have very typical voices here.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm okay with it because of the fact that I watch my fair share of anime and I recognize a lot of these voices. I don't know who they are, but I've known them as different characters and other stuff.
Yeah, I mean they're all very typical archetypes.
And I feel like that's the kind of voice that matches the character more than a pretty regional British accent.
All right then, mate.
That's the character from the first Xenoblade.
Is it that bad? Let's go then, mate.
We've got to save the world. Oh, shut up.
Through the power of friendship.
Okay, so both of you have said it's Japanese voices. All right.
I didn't have a choice,
I'll have to...
though.
Yeah,
Because
you
for
didn't
some
have a
reason,
choice, but,
Japanese people, they get the short end of the stick, so they can choose between
They can choose
Japanese,
Japanese
or nothing.
Chinese, right?
I don't know if you have Chinese voices, actually.
Oh.
You might. I didn't look into it. I didn't do my due diligence as a journalist. And for that, I apologize.
Is this will be the downfall right here?
Yeah,
this moment.
this will be the one to do us in.
In any case, that's thank you very much for your thoughts on Xenoblade 2. I wanted to move on to some other Nintendo Switch news. I've got a few little Nintendo Switch related updates in the news. The first one being that ARMS, that boxing game, it's still releasing new characters. So Nintendo just released a new character for free. And it's called Springtron. It looks like the main character, but it's a robot. Yeah,
Figured that one out.
I just, I think it's pretty neat. I don't know a lot of people that are still playing ARMS, but it's cool to see that it's being supported.
Are you one of them?
I don't play ARMS anymore. No.
Oh, okay then.
I did play for a while when it came out.
You still have it?
I still have it.
Yeah. As do I. Haven't played it in a while. I think it was more of a whim for me, but
Yeah.
I still enjoy it, and I like you. I mean, I'm happy that they're adding more content and they're keeping it updated, and I feel like they're using it more as a kind of competitive game these days.
Well, they're trying to make it into that.
Strong support, yeah, right. So
this is where my
they're trying to make
journalistic
they're
integrity will,
trying to make a franchise out of it. But
are they?
I mean, I'm sure that's
I
the
can
point.
definitely
Splatoon did
see
very
Nintendo
well for them.
putting like an ARMS character in the next Smash Bros.
Whenever
that's coming out.
And on that, I have no doubt. But it remains to be seen if it has any staying power. And I think it sold okay, but it didn't do terribly well. And yeah, it certainly doesn't seem to be a big hit like Splatoon was. But it's good that they're keeping up support. So maybe it'll gain some traction. I honestly don't see it happening at this point.
Either of you, because I failed to research that, but does either of you happen to know if ARMS is going into the esports territory? There was, like, when it was just out, they were pushing that. Yeah. But I haven't heard anything about that.
I don't think it has enough. It's gained enough traction to go that far.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they're trying. I mean, I'm sure they're trying to get there. But if I had to guess, I don't think that it's reached that level yet.
I remember when it just came out that there was that they immediately crowned like the ARMS world champion or something.
Yeah, and he then got destroyed by the game's creator.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
that,
the Nintendo organized a tournament, and then the guy who won, he did a final. He did a final exhibition match against one of the game's, I don't know, lead programmers or the game's director, I'm not sure. And he got destroyed, which is to be expected.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Yeah.
You,
it's
how far you can get as the world champion.
I like it when games are supported after launch like this.
Through loot boxes, you mean?
For free.
For free.
Some other
for free, you say?
Some other studios might learn something from that.
I don't know. I don't know what you mean.
I don't know either. Any case, maybe we'll touch on that later. But there another Switch news thingy, a Switch RPG actually, would be Shin Megami Tensei 5, which has been confirmed for the Switch in the West. I guess this is not that big of a surprise because of the popularity in the West, but it's nice to see that, as opposed to with the Wii U, that RPGs and or JRPGs in particular, are making their way west more frequently now.
Well, Shin Megami Tensei 4 was released in the West on the 3DS though. But it's
Which one?
good. The previous entry in the series was on the 3DS.
Yeah, there was also one on the PS2. But,
Yeah, that's Nocturne, I
that
think.
was
That's
out
the
when I
third
was in
one.
the UK. Yeah.
I've never played Shin Megami Tensei up to this point. I always wanted to jump in, but
Yeah, this it's
overwhelming
good news.
and backlog.
Good news.
Yeah, it's nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean, with the success of Persona 5, they'd be stupid not to go, hey, rest of the world, here's all the other games, because consumers just snapped them up. Gamers just wanted it, and it did really well.
Yeah, I wonder though,
it is a
because
good game, so.
Shin Megami Tensei, I've only played the one on the 3DS, so your mileage may vary here, but it strikes me as a very different game from the Persona series, and one that potentially has a slightly different fan base. Because in Persona you have the whole high school mechanic and the strong storyline, but Shin Megami Tensei 4 really didn't have that. So at this point, I'd say that Persona is probably bigger than the original series that spawned it.
Yeah, I mean, there are some similar mechanics with the monster kind of collecting kind of thing and recruiting, rather. I feel like the tone is much darker. It's more apocalyptic, maybe.
Yeah, certainly was that way in the fourth one.
Less to kind of really connect to, relate to.
I'm sure that just the relation of the name of Persona being a spin-off of Shin Megami Tensei in and of itself will probably help the game perform for people who jumped in with Persona 5.
I don't know. I hope so. I mean, Persona 5 is very clearly called Persona 5. Does it say Shin Megami Tensei in the title anymore?
No, but I'm sure they'll probably make some ads and whatnot to remind people that it's
from the creators of. Yeah, it's still different, released on a different platform. So, yeah, I wonder.
Yeah,
I wonder
we'll see.
how well it'll do. But here's hoping.
Here's hoping. And then I've got one more little Nintendo news item for you, and this one actually is not. Well, it's a recent news item, but it pertains to a rather old game at this point, namely GoldenEye, the original N64 GoldenEye.
Not that old. It's only 20 years old.
Which I'm sure we've all played. Adam,
it's only 20 years old, did you just say?
It's only 20 years old.
I'm not sure if it's 20 years old.
It is. 1997.
That's old.
Oh, man. That is
20 years ago.
Time flies. I assume that the both of you have played that game quite a bit.
I've played only minutes of it because I never owned a Nintendo when I was younger.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You missed out.
Yeah. It was on N64, right?
It was not on
never
Amiga.
Had one of those. I had... what?
It was not on Amiga.
Yeah, it wasn't on Amiga. Yeah, that's how I started. Yeah, like my school friends had N64s, and so I'm sure I played a couple of rounds of matches, but I couldn't get over the controls. I'll say it now, not actually a big fan of GoldenEye. Sorry. No, it was the N64 controls. If it didn't have that, I think it'd be great.
It was a great game. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to stop you there, but yeah.
Oh, the first cracks are showing.
But get on with the newsman.
Yes. So the first level of GoldenEye, the dam level.
That
damn level. For years, apparently the world record for clearing that level was 53 seconds, which is pretty fucking insane. And it just got broken by 1 second. The new record is 52 seconds.
Great.
Did they just jump off the dam and then shoot something on the way down? What are they doing?
That's a cutscene, actually.
It's he just basically runs past all the guards and hits All the you have to shoot a lock at one point, and you have to hit a button at one point, and he just has it timed perfectly.
Ugh.
It's
How many iterations you got to go through to get that right?
Oh yeah, it's
welcome to the
must be
wonderful
fucking
world of
horrible to
speedruns.
do.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. A blast from the past, and I just couldn't really believe that it was 52 seconds. But I watched the video, and it's
You confirmed it.
confirmed.
It has now been verified.
It has now had
Officially
the Game Honey seal of
sanctioned.
approval. Yes. So yeah, that's the good news for this week.
It's quite a lot.
Shall we move on? Shall we move on to the bad news, or the controversial news?
Sure.
Namely, loot boxes, everyone's favorite.
Oh yeah, lewd boxes.
Loot boxes, yes, loot boxes. The controversy continues. We are a few weeks into Battlefront 2, and EA is essentially still doubling down.
Oh wait,
on
hold
their
on. I want to call that Battlefront Gate. Can I call
Battlefront
that?
Gate.
I'll allow
Battlefront Gate.
I'll allow it.
Battlefront Gate. Hashtag Battlefront Gate.
Don't do that.
Yeah, EA seems to not really learn their lesson, because a lot of people have been saying that if it was loot boxes with just customization options, with just skins or whatnot, then it would still be kind of predatory, but it wouldn't be as bad as it is now with...
It wouldn't be pay to win.
It wouldn't be pay to win, yes. To that, EA replied, well, they essentially kind of blamed Disney. They said, well...
It seems like the smart thing to do.
Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be canon to have a pink Darth Vader run around,
Just
is what
throw
they
your
said.
boss under the bus.
It's like, hey Disney, what do you think? We're watching you.
Yeah. It's EA is making all the right decisions. So they said no customization options, because that would not be canon, which they said about
What?
a game where you can have Yoda fighting Rey alongside Rey on Naboo. So I think right then and there we can already throw the canon out of the window. But just to go with that, someone on the internet, where all the someones ever live,
Seems to be a lot of them.
has managed to dig into the files of Battlefront, and they found, guess what? Customization options.
No.
They are already in the game. When
Well, there you
EA
go.
is saying,
Must have been those
God
those
bless those
game.
data miners.
those dirty bastards over at Disney.
it's granted to technically EA, I suppose, wasn't lying, because there isn't a pink Vader option. But yeah, there's he pulled up, he or she pulled up a menu where you could it was still pretty barren, to be honest, options wise, but there were customization options in the game. Supposedly you could probably unlock them at some point for real world money, going by everything that's happened up to this point. But yeah, EA is it's amazing.
They're at it again.
Watching this garbage fire that is EA.
Raging on.
It's yeah. So Polar and I have already talked a little bit about this, but Adam, can we have your quick thoughts on loot boxes?
Great for the industry.
Yeah, okay. So I mean, there's a few games that I play that do involve loot boxes. You know, I do play a bit of Overwatch. I play what else? Oh no, I guess that's pretty doesn't count. I mean, yeah, Overwatch primarily. I used to play like that. That's an EA product. No, let's just go with Overwatch, right? Because the more I think about it, the worse it gets.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, when it comes to loot boxes, like cosmetics, you know, vanity items, I can get. I'm totally happy if people want to throw money at stuff like that, because it, you know, it's in itself, it's harmless. It's not great. The companies will try and gouge out that extra money from, say, a full price title, like a premium title. Not too great with that, but hey, I've had like extra credits, a few extra dollars or a few extra yen on my PSN store, and I'm like, all right, I'll click on that one box, and I'll open it, and maybe maybe I'll get something out of it, right? But when it comes to game-changing stuff, things that will drastically give you an advantage, no, I think that's it's kind of shameful, actually, personally.
Yeah. That seems to be the consensus on the internet.
Yeah, I'm
the big consensus.
I'm with everybody else. I don't think games should. I mean, I'm not going to say completely outlaw loot boxes. I think someone said on Twitter, actually, another game developer, that if your indie game or whatever game it is free, then by all means slap loot boxes on there, because maybe that's the way you make money for your product that you've worked on for so long. That's a type of earning money from your hard labors. If it's a premium title, get out.
That's something that we mentioned as well when talking about Battlefront 2, because it's obviously a full price product. Which I guess kind of leads us into our next topic, because I don't know if you guys are familiar with Paladins. I know you put it on the show notes there, Panda, but I played it only for a little bit. It's sort of a free-to-play version of Overwatch. People call it an Overwatch ripoff, but from what I heard, it was actually already in development when before Overwatch was released. But whatever, it doesn't matter. It's free to play. But apparently they are going with the EA model. And Panda, you put it on there, so tell us what that means.
Yeah, well, essentially, like you said, Paladins is free to play Overwatch. Essentially, if you break it down to the bare bones, and they were doing all right, but now now of all times, they have decided to start to make some changes to their game, namely to introduce, guess what? Loot boxes. They're introducing cards, which you can get through loot boxes. You can level them up through loot boxes, and they will change the damage output, for example, or they will power up your jump, or they will essentially be pay to win. And you have to get duplicates of said power card, which you can get from loot boxes. So
just the idea of having loot boxes of having loot boxes that give you power ups in competitive games is such a silly concept to me.
Yeah, and on top of that, the power ups in question are only for use in quick play, not during ranked mode.
Right.
Okay.
So it's not actually really helpful either.
I have a question of my own. So you said that's these cards are for a primarily PvP game. What would you say to loot boxes in a co-op game? The reason I bring this up is I played a fair bit of Fortnite when it first came out. I was lucky enough to get in on the closed beta. I had a founder's package that I secured, and I think they've made adjustments now, but they had not loot boxes, but I guess loot pinatas. You beat the crap out of.
Okay. And
they had cards in them as well. But when it's a co-op game, when it's a game that can primarily, you could solo the thing, but it's more fun with co-op. What do you guys think of that?
I don't know. I to be honest, as a whole, we talked about this over the past few weeks as well. But I'm not really enamored with the concept of loot boxes because, the reason they bring up gambling the reason that some European countries are now looking into legislation is because of the random element and also the element that you can get what is it, double items. You're not guaranteed a new item. Like back in the good old days when we just had simple microtransactions, it all seems so quaint now. But you at least knew what you were getting. But now with loot boxes, and especially by making them paid, I know Overwatch, you can also get them by just investing credits that you earn through playing the game. But you can also buy them, and yeah, like you, Adam, I think you are like most people, and you will just get a loot box every so often when you feel like it. But yeah, what these studios are trying to get into are the whales, the Moby Dicks of this world. Like you had who we also mentioned on the show a week or two ago, is there was this player who spent like what is it, $15,000 on Mass Effect Andromeda. You have these people that completely ruin themselves over these games because they have addictive personalities, and those are the kinds of people that companies are actively going after when they include these types of systems, which is to your point, which is worrying, I think, regardless of the type of game that they're in.
Yeah. Panda, you asked me earlier on what I thought about loot boxes in general, and there's one thing that I did forget to mention. Like $1 or $2 loot crates, I can understand maybe $5 to $10, but when a company starts selling like stacks of credits or coins or loot boxes for hundreds of dollars, like $100 for this like premium package, for me that's when I would immediately give up on that entire game, because no.
But to turn that on its head, you could argue that small priced loot boxes are even more insidious because they're low price, so you're
just
maybe
keep
more
buying
easily swayed to.
True.
Just one more.
I mean, it's like at that point when a developer puts like $100 price tag on something beyond the price of a game, it's like you have to think about who they are now, kind of like pointing that towards. Who are they kind of like hoping is going to latch onto them? And it's when they're consciously making an effort to latch onto, to harpoon these whales out in the ocean and pull them in.
Yeah.
That it gets a bit too ugly for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel that if it's pay to win, then it shouldn't be in the game at all.
Yeah,
I think
microtransactions, loot boxes in general, I don't think anybody's really a fan.
Yeah, it's definitely seeing like $100 packs is kind of I always wonder like who would buy that, but there's definitely people out there that buy that. So
sure, yeah. I mean, if you were a teenager and you had infinite time on your hands, I mean, I'm sure we'd all be interested in spending more on Call of Duty or a similar competitive game that we'd be playing for every day of the week for summers on end. I can totally see that happening.
Yeah. It's not a good state for the industry to be in.
Yeah, but it's good. It's good that it's getting out in the open this much. Yeah. So it seems like there definitely will be some change, and at least as long as people remain vocal about this. So it's good that people are talking about it. So
yeah, one more thing. I just put it on the list, but one more thing to be vocal about, showing that EA definitely didn't learn his lesson yet, is that EA also released UFC 3, a fighting game. I think it's called EA UFC 3. I think that's the official title. And guess what? That's pay to win through loot boxes.
Yay!
But
They're not learning.
No, apparently it's so bad that it's essentially unplayable if you don't spend money. Like a normal punch, just a normal jab, needs to be upgraded through cards or whatever it is.
For a second there, I thought you have to pay for each punch. $1.
That's the
$1.
next step.
$1. $1. Uppercut. $2.
When you run out of credit, your
Ground
guy just
pound,
sort of
$5
stands there, and he just gets beat in the face, and he's not allowed to defend himself.
I'm sorry, you currently don't have enough crystals for that triangle hole.
To move your arms.
Oh, EA. Oh, EA.
Yeah, they're having one hell of a year.
It's
They've got some
amazing
great
how
momentum
tone-deaf
heading
they
into
are.
the holiday season.
Yeah, you really do wonder if they just do not understand it, or if they just kind of hope that it goes away, if they just like play dead for a little bit. It's
Yeah, maybe. Well,
It-
it seems to have worked out for them for a while now. I mean, microtransactions have been ramping up for a while, and it's been going good so far. So maybe they're hoping that this blows over, or maybe they just didn't have enough time to take it out. I mean, no, I don't think that's. I mean, they could deactivate.
at least delay the game. If
They could deactivate
Like, it
the loot
just
boxes
came
in
out.
Battlefront 2, so I don't think that's the problem. Maybe they're just.
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they're just that tone deaf. Who knows?
yeah.
Would be interesting to get a big post mortem on this period in EA's lives.
Yeah,
somewhere
books
in
will
the
be
future.
written about this about this season for EA
Historians, yes.
for sure. So yeah, that's it for video game news. But we have
By the way,
got-
one more thing. I
Yes.
think the Game Awards, the Keeleys, will be
Oh,
held
yes.
in a couple of days. And
yeah.
I know it seems like Nintendo is planning something, and since we're having a Nintendo show anyway this week, any predictions from you guys?
I predict that Keely's going to praise Kojima a lot.
Oh yeah.
My dear
Did you know
friend.
that they are very
my
close
dear,
friends?
dear friend. Apparently.
He really likes me. I promise.
Yeah. He's my
knows my name.
best friend. I know. I'm hoping they're not Nintendo stuff really, but I'm hoping they're gonna give us some real Death Stranding stuff. That's all I'm after, really.
It would be cool, but do you think there's gameplay at this point?
Maybe.
I'd hope there'd be something at this point.
I hope so. It's been a while since we last got a taste of what Kojima's cooking.
Yeah. Be
Yeah.
interesting if this product took him like 7 years again, and
Or
he's,
at least maybe not something that looks playable, but fucking trailer
Something that's not
maybe
just
a fucking trailer that actually explains something.
you
it's
you
been-
mean anything else than space whales contemplating humanity?
Just give something to
Guillermo
go
del
by,
Toro holding a baby.
other than like just,
You're asking for an awful lot, sir,
I know, right?
in the context of Kojima.
Hey, Kojima, makes sense. Not gonna happen.
It's art.
I love
Adam.
you. I love you, Kojima.
Art.
But yeah.
As long as you're ashamed of your words and deeds, all will be forgiven.
Accept Kojima as your Lord and Savior, and you may arise, kiss the feet of the big boss. Anyway, yeah, I don't know anything about
Anything.
announcements, but I did see that PlayStation is also doing some announcements this week, live streaming some stuff, and apparently they're streaming some more. So they're showing some more of Ghosts of Tsushima,
Oh, good.
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be
that's what it
feudal
said.
Japan game. So I'm hyped for that.
Yeah,
that
man.
would be cool. I think they're. I'm hoping
the
that
weeaboo in
Nintendo.
me rejoices.
I hope that Nintendo will round out the year with the DLC for Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, that has been very silent on that front.
Only thing they said is that it's still coming in 2017. So here's hoping.
Christmas present.
That would be
Or
wonderful.
knowing Nintendo, it will be available right now.
That doesn't really happen ever.
They have like some eShop titles every now and then.
Yeah, eShop
they'll
title,
release.
major flagship title. What's the difference, really?
That's it's all the same.
Something
right.
vaguely similar has happened in the past.
Yeah. In any case, we have got some what you've been playing on our list, on our what you've been playing list. We've got some video games, but we've also got, courtesy of our dear friend Adam, not just a video game. Hello, not just a video game, but an experience. Is it fair to call it an experience?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Please enlighten us about your newfound video game experiences.
Yeah, so I say video games. I haven't actually tried it enough on video games, but there's a new product that just came out quite recently. It's from a company called Woojer. It sounds a little unusual, but the product is actually pretty cool. They're actually developing a series, I say series, there's 2 products right now, of haptic feedback devices for both, I guess, video games, VR, multimedia. So they've got 2 products. One is called the strap. The other is called the vest.
The vibrating strap.
I think you can guess, based on those 2 things, what they look like and the size. Basically, the strap is a kind of a flexible, kind of neoprene kind of strap with 2 haptic kind of like feedback, kind of subwoofer kind of motors that you kind of wrap around your chest, one in the front, one in the back, and they provide some pretty dynamic sensations to both your music and your video game playing. So you get some really good kind of like kicks to the chest when you feel like these impacts from explosions, or like the kind of alternating bass, or some quite loud music. These devices are actually pretty cool. The vest is something a little bit bigger. It straps all the way around the body. It looks kind of like a bulletproof vest. But that has like 6 of these speakers, and they're all like really just, it's like standing next to like a giant speaker at a rock concert. Your whole body just buzzes with all these undulating kind of vibrations.
You
it has the added bonus that your ears still work.
Yes, and your ears still work. Yes, I've tried it. Just through my kind of journalistic connections, I was lucky enough that I knew a few people working on it. They're helping fund it, that kind of thing, and they said, "Hey, you're a journalist. We're going to send you a strap for free." So I've been playing around with it a lot. I very, very rarely get sent stuff. This is like my second piece of tech that I've ever been sent, just because I did some writing one time. And yeah, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I was on the train earlier on today, coming back from work, with this thing just kind of glowing and buzzing on the train.
Was it
nobody really gave me any.
Do you wear it over your clothes then, or?
Yeah,
over your clothes?
No. Yeah, it's just you put it over your clothes. I just had it over my shirt and then my jacket over.
You're supposed to wear it over your clothes.
Yeah, it's not really underclothes. I mean, there's a significant of indentation underneath the devices that they push through clothing and any layers of skin to really kind of like get onto the hard parts of your body.
Yeah, okay. And it wouldn't really look good either, I suppose, if you have this under your t-shirt.
Yeah, it just looked weird. And you basically plug your headphones into the device itself, and then you have the strap or the vest connecting to your phone or whatever product you're using it with. Maybe wirelessly, maybe wired. So having your headphones through your clothing onto this thing connecting directly to your skin is a bit weird. But yes, over your clothing is fine. Like I said, these speakers, these haptic sensors are like so strong. I mean, you can manually adjust them, but you do feel it kind of no matter where you put it on your body, really.
So you were rumbling and vibrating and getting kicked in the chest all over the place while you were sitting in the train.
Yeah. And nobody really noticed.
They don't.
Not so much. There was the guy like across the way looking at my chest and wondering what this glowing ring was, because it kind of had this kind of Iron Man kind of look to it, right? And I have the arc reactor in my chest, but I don't don't think it's like significant enough to like jostle the person next to me.
But you're not sitting
if
there
I,
softly
if I
vibrating.
hit those sick beats. So yeah, I think it worked out fine. I think, I've taken it to friends before, and I said, "Hey, look, I've been sent this," and the reactions are really quite positive. Everybody's giggling and quite shocked at how this thing actually feels when it's kind of like pulsing to this music. So it's getting a lot of great kind of positive responses just from friends trying it out and being pleasantly surprised how cool it is.
Run on? Does it run? Do you charge it? Is that an
you
internal
charge
battery?
it via USB. When I first picked it up, the developers, they said it's best to charge it for like maximum charge. It will take like 3 to 4 hours to charge. Sounds a bit much, but you're getting like 8 hours of continuous use out of it. And you're not going to be sitting there listening to music for 8 hours straight.
Yeah,
well, maybe I am.
I'm curious
Well,
to
maybe
hear.
you are, but you'll be doing the comfort of your own home kind of thing.
Are you gonna try playing some more games this week?
Yeah, I've got some VR set up over here, so I'm going to see how that works out with some of the kind of shooty games I have.
Yeah, I'm not a person who's into Rumble generally, but this does sound like it could provide some actual sort of meaningful feedback that would enrich the experience.
Yeah. And like I said, it's the strap is sleek and compact enough that it doesn't get in the way. Yeah, and so it's currently being sold right now, and it's going on 30% off from their website. It's $249 usually, but now it's down to $169. Personally, I think either price, you're getting a lot of cool stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Just a quick disclaimer: we are not sponsored.
No.
Woojer.
This is entirely through me.
Adam might be. we don't know.
But Woojer, if you're listening, you can definitely sponsor us. Send us some vests and bandoliers.
Why not?
All right, so that's pretty neat. Yeah, I really love VR, so I'm definitely a haptic suit would be really cool to experience sometime, but that's definitely not in the near vicinity for us mere mortals if we don't have like all that sweet DARPA money.
I'm looking at the website now as well, and it says compatible with, and it's just literally all of the icons, all of the logos. So,
but
it's compatible with Wii U apparently. So there you go.
Now that's what I was going to ask.
Yeah,
system redeemed.
I really needed that Wii U compatibility for my
it's right there, man.
haptic suit. It looks pretty neat.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Yeah, this sounds
It
like something
definitely
you
adds that new dimension to just listening to regular music. It sounds like a spiel, but no, it's good. I like it. I'm glad they sent it to me.
Yeah, let us know when you play some more games on it. I mean, I'm sure for VR it works well, but I could see this adding to just regular games too.
I want to play Doom on it.
Yeah, that
Doom
with
VFR,
the metal soundtrack, yeah, that would work great.
Yeah.
Apparently the Doom VR game is pretty good as well, so seems like the perfect combination.
Yep.
Please let us know how immersed you were.
How it feels to get eaten by a dragon in Skyrim.
Oh god, I hope it doesn't actually simulate eating. That'd be horrible.
That's when the needles come out.
It has built-in dragon teeth to pierce your skin.
Yeah.
For the real...
It vibrates so much it just gives you internal bleeding.
Enjoy it.
This is the future. Okay, so neat. That sounds very nice. I'll definitely take a look at that. And hey, Woojer,
and proceed not to buy
you
it.
have to listen to this. We are not sponsored by you, but we could be.
This man has no shame.
In any case,
you, sir, are the Lanky Kong of this podcast.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah, you should.
Sure.
You really shouldn't.
No, we'll settle this like men later, with a speed run of Donkey Kong 64.
No, GoldenEye. You got to beat that guy's time.
51 seconds. We can do it. Yeah. So, what have y'all been playing? I see. We of course talked a little bit about Xenoblade 2. I know for a fact that the both of you have been playing Nier Automata and have been wanting to talk about it. So,
Yeah.
why don't we take a little moment right now to hear your
Moment
thoughts?
of silence. Yeah.
Moment
I
of
actually,
silence
I was,
for Nier.
I was curious to hear Adam's thoughts on it, because while
I've got lots.
yeah, we spoke a little bit after we did the previous show, and it sure seemed like you had a lot of thoughts, and I'm a little bit further in the game now. I finished the first ending, and what I mentioned, I think 2 weeks ago, you weren't there, but when I just finished it, I liked everything up until the ending, which the final boss fight for some reason was very frustrating to me, because I hadn't stocked up on healing items, and I sort of just got locked into this continuous cycle of encounters with increasingly powerful enemies, and I just kept dying over and over, where I hadn't really had much trouble with bosses or enemies up to that point, but that part was really frustrating. So kind of lowered my enjoyment of the game a little bit. And then I found out that in Route B, to me it seems like you are more or less walking the exact same path you are in Route A. I'm not that far into it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm enjoying it, but I'm not loving it at this point. I was wondering if you had some words of encouragement for me there.
How dare you get out?
Okay, that's off to a good start.
No, I mean, have you played any of the other kind of Yoko Taro titles, be it like Dragon Guard?
I
or
sure haven't.
This Nier title.
I'm new to the Yoko Taro-verse.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You like the way I could best way I could put it is like the work that Yoko Taro does is very subversive. Subversive of the gamer. It subverts what you expect, what you were hoping for. And so while, yes, maybe unfortunately you may have had a kind of a bad encounter with the boss of the first ending.
Yeah, I can see that it might have been just kind of unlucky.
Yeah, it might have soured things a little bit, but I would only say persist, because with most of the all of the Yoko Taro titles, what you think of the ending isn't the ending at all.
Okay.
It is like ending A of a series of endings it's one chapter of a larger story that you gradually go through. It is not an ending of the game, it's an ending of that act. The next act might be it might be the same story again, and you may think it's just from another perspective. But the way for me, his work is just expert. The writing, the direction, the new scenes that you didn't see before, the new angles, and just the added depth that those next parts bring to the overall story, adds so much more to it. And
can you kind of see my point though, where when I mentioned that for this second route, the gameplay and the overall route that you take through the game, at least so far, without going to spoilers for anyone who hasn't played it, where am I now? I'm just past Pascal's village, so not that far into it, admittedly. But it's the same route basically. You encounter some new characters, and you have a few new story bits, but gameplay wise and encounter wise, it's all the same.
Yes, so you have to think that what the first two parts are doing is they're telling 2B's story, and then they're telling 9S's story in parallel. Once they've told those stories, then you're coming into the brand new territory.
Okay.
That you're coming into, you have new side quests, new introduced characters, more depth to the already existing ones, and entirely brand new scenarios and storyline. Because this is your first Yoko Taro game, this is something he does. This is something the games do.
I sort of hear you struggling, wanting to say you want to say things, but you don't want to give away too much.
I know, right? Because God, it's so good.
All right. I'll keep
I love the Nier games. Nier Automata just absolutely blew me away for so many reasons. But because again I'm a writer, narrative is always where my heart is, and it's horribly tragic and beautiful at the same time. And I would say to anybody who's a little bit on the fence or struggling with it, the first part of it, persist, because it just explodes. And the more you look at it, the more deeper you dig into it, like the deeper it gets and the richer it gets, and more rewarding.
That's kind of exactly what I wanted to hear, because I think I did the right thing by not really looking into the game, because I want to be surprised by it. But so I didn't know too much about all these different routes, and the ending to Route A, it kind of made me go, is this it? And then you start Route B, obviously, and there are some minor differences, but it's not too different. So my initial response was that, so it's really more of the same, and it's a little bit different. But yeah, from what it sounds like, the things
if you're quite early into the next chapter, again things will pick up. It's never so close to the original story that it's too boring. That was probably the original Nier's fault for me.
Because you had to play that a bunch of times as well, right?
Yes, multiple endings. And the problem with that is you would play the same story over and over again, maybe 5 or 6 times, the same things over and over again with some minor differences. But this time, while it feels like you're going through the same path, because you're following each character, because they're a partnership, things will diverge very quickly and feel you'll feel a lot more different things.
Cool. Okay, no, that's what I was hoping. So I'll definitely
it's
keep
the
going.
The best he's done by far.
Yeah, it was probably a good move teaming up with Platinum.
Yeah, they did.
There was a recent interview with him, I think, that he was really surprised that they actually made a new Nier game, and the Square Enix, and there were apparently some people who were very passionate about Nier, or some big fans of Nier at Square Enix.
I might have been one of them.
And so yeah, they got in touch with Platinum, and that's how the game got made. But yeah, from what I hear, the previous Drakengard games in particular were extremely janky. But yeah, there's really no jank in this game at all, from a gameplay perspective.
No. Yeah, and I really like that that Nier Automata actually surprised Square Enix a lot. Because they were just like, oh, okay, well, there's been some fan interest in this Yoko Taro title. Let's do something with it. And they didn't expect it to. They expected it to be like middling sales, but now it's well over 2 million, and it's one of their most praised IPs.
Oh yeah,
that Square Enix is attached to. So I'm super happy for like Platinum and Yoko Taro's team.
Yeah, for Platinum too, because Platinum
pulled off.
Platinum remarked that. Who was it who said this? I can't remember his name right now. He, the snarky Twitter account, director of Devil May Cry.
Hidetaki Kamiya?
No, a guy without hair. Some might call him bald. Oh God, he's the one with the super snarky Twitter account. I remember everything.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But...
Kamiya, yeah. Oh, did you say Kamiya?
Yeah.
Because the connection wasn't too great.
I said Hidetaki, but it's Hideki Kamiya.
Hideki Kamiya,
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Kamiya. He said that Nier is the game that saved Platinum because they didn't really have any big hits, and Nier was a big hit for them. Kind of the first one they had in a long time. So, yeah, it's a really good. It's a success story this year in a year that's filled with loot boxes and disappointments. And actually some really great games. Nier is thankfully one of the latter. At least I'm hoping. I'm hoping my experience will turn out that way.
Okay. Yeah, I was a bit quiet, but it was good to hear you guys' thoughts. I might have to pick it up somewhere down the line.
What? You haven't done it?
Nope.
Damn it.
So might have to do that if everyone's so lyrical about it.
I'll give you the definitive verdict in a couple of weeks.
All right, looking forward to it. I'll hijack the airwaves then to let you guys know that I finished Assassin's Creed Origins, or I should say, I finished the story of Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh yeah.
There's still, it is fucking huge. That game is huge, and there is still a lot of stuff to do.
So I'm stuck in that game too.
Yeah, but it was a very enjoyable place to be stuck in.
Ancient Egypt.
I really enjoyed the setting, and although towards the end there are some choices that they made with the story that felt a bit weird, which I won't really go into for spoilers.
Yes, sure.
Turns out he was a mummy the entire time.
Oh no, that's not it. But yeah, I mostly, as someone who's played most of the Assassin's Creed games, and hasn't had that much of a problem with it. I know that it's quite popular to kind of hate on some of the more recent ones. But
to be fair, you weren't a fan of Unity, if I remember correctly.
No, but I did like Syndicate overall, which came after Unity.
Yeah, I think that was well received.
Yeah. So it's had its ups and downs, but this one I would count among the ups. There's definitely stuff that I feel they could have utilized more. I hardly ever used my tools, for example. Poison darts or whatever. I think I used my berserker darts like maybe twice in the whole game.
Sleep darts I occasionally use, but yeah.
Yeah, I hardly use sleep darts. I feel that they're kind of hard to access. You have to open up the menu to switch between them. Yeah. And as opposed to in previous games, you can kind of switch them out on the fly. But in exchange for that, you get a more flexible combat system, it feels, where you can switch out lots of weapons with different types, with different
loot system
attributes and powers,
stats,
and all the lovely stats, all the numbers.
All the numbers.
They're all there.
They're all there. I really like that. So it's huge. So if you want to play a game that you can just breeze through in a couple of hours and just have a full, complete experience in that time period, this is not your game.
How long did it take you?
But if you want to sit down and be immersed in a classical or an ancient world for hours upon hours, and want to run around and do shit and take and use the very fun photo mode, then definitely give it a try.
So how long did it take you to beat the game?
I didn't keep track, to be honest. Adam, last time we talked, Adam mentioned to me that you can see your time when you start the game,
first,
right?
your save file, the main menu, when you load up, it says this
so
many
I'll
hours.
have to double check that, but I haven't actually checked it.
I will say one thing about Origins as well, just to add to what you can get out of it, is if you don't actually go and, assassinate people or do side quests, I find it actually really relaxing as well. Because you can just kind of be in the world, and you can go ride across a desert and just kind of enjoy the environment. Like, as an environment, you think, oh, desert's not that great, there's not a lot to it. But I found I got a lot more out of it than, say, a city. I liked journeying across the landscape, and I really dug that, especially the lighting and the day and night cycles.
Yeah, the map is like I said, is huge and it's pretty varied. Obviously, there's a lot of sand, but there's also lots of other like biomes, and there are cities, and while there aren't any high rises,
there are
still
lots of really cool tombs to plunder as well. I really enjoy just kind of just digging around and doing some kind of archaeology kind of stuff. Yeah.
So I really enjoyed the setting.
Nice.
Recommended.
I asked you this before, but now that you finish it, where would you rank it among the pantheon of Assassin's Creed games?
Yeah, so I played all the mainline Assassin's Creed. So I didn't play Brotherhood and was the other one, like the other. I played one of the other Ezio games, and I didn't play the Templar game.
That's all of them.
From No, there's one game where you don't play as the assassin, but as a Templar. I think it got released at the same time as Unity, but that one
for
Rogue. It's called Rogue, I think.
Yeah,
and it was a lot better than Unity, but it got pushed to the previous gen consoles for some reason, so it kind of got buried by Unity, unfortunately. But let's see, where would I rank it? I think that that's a difficult one. I like
in the top spot you had two and Black Flag, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but those are still like my three favorites, with Origins in there as well. I like 2 mostly for the fact that it was so much better than 1, and it felt like an actual proper game as opposed to 1. So there's the nostalgia factor to that. And I feel that Black Flag and Origins are very different. They're both like in huge worlds, and obviously they talk about assassinating people, but I don't know, the themes feel kind of different, and the gameplay is very different. Like I feel that they're different enough to that they're not really easy to compare. Maybe that's just me.
You can say which one you enjoyed more, right?
I am gonna say Black Flag, but only barely.
It's a tough one to call, for sure.
Yeah. I really enjoyed Origins, but in some places it does drag a little bit, where you're like, okay, I want to do the next main mission, but I gotta grind a little bit, do some side quests and whatnot. And most side quests are fun, so it's not that bad. But yeah, I guess Black Flag beats Origins by a narrow margin for me.
Okay.
And Adam, I don't know how many of the Assassin's Creed games you've played, but where would you rank it so far?
I've played up to Black Flag. I didn't play Syndicate or Unity.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly because Unity was the one that was just falling apart.
Yeah, Unity wasn't very good.
I saw that. I was like, yeah, sold.
Even without the bugs, it wasn't very good.
I didn't actually finish Black Flag. I really enjoyed it, but it just kept going, and I think I burned myself out on that game.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of put off by the whole Abstergo stuff. In the end, it became too much Abstergo and not enough kind of historical adventure.
Yeah.
And so I went off Assassin's Creed for a while, but I think your in-game screenshots tweeted on Twitter and other people's opinions and playthroughs kind of convinced me to come back in, and I really am enjoying Assassin's Creed Origins, and for me, I would say it's my favorite because because it does feel like they've kind of they've started from scratch. They've coming at it at a new angle, and they've done away with a lot of more kind of frustrating mechanics that past games have had. Like I said, I didn't really like one as well because there was a lot of there's a lot of annoying stuff in that just kind of bugged me. The new one just feels like they're going in a better, newer direction. I will say, for one particular reason why I'm enjoying it so much, is that Assassin's Creed Origins actually plays, for me, a lot like Witcher 3.
Yeah.
And Witcher 3 still is one of my top 3 all-time favorite games.
I will have to. I cannot but agree with you on that one. Yeah,
they've done a lot. They've taken on a lot of things that Witcher 3 started, and which I'm happy for because I want more RPGs to follow on from their example. So yeah, I'm happy it has that kind of feel to it. Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
ACO is my new favorite.
Wow.
Well, if I try out Nier, will Polar try out Assassin's Creed Origins? That's a big question.
That's a massive game, but no, if you both like it that much, and I have to admit, I've only tried the first Assassin's Creed. I've never really gotten on board.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if it's as bad as Unity, but it's definitely at the bottom.
I don't know. I thought it looked beautiful, but the repetition just sort of killed it for me.
Yeah. No, the first game is not fun. The first mission is fun, and after that, it's just a repeat.
Yeah. The game feel wasn't there.
No.
Not a lot of game feel.
Yeah. So, definitely give it a try if you have
just do that.
some bad experience with Assassin's Creed, but want to get back in, hop back on that camel. Get it? Because it's in Egypt.
Topical.
Go and try out Assassin's Creed Origins.
Cool.
So there. I think we're kind of coming up to the end of the podcast.
We're closing in on the end, but Adam mentioned something, right?
Yes.
There is one more game on the list that
Adam
mentioned.
One more of many that I've been playing. But yeah, the one I mentioned earlier on, before this started, was Battleship Brigade. And I've been playing on Switch.
I have seen this title pop up, but would you please explain to our dear listeners what the game's about.
Yeah, so it's a typical kind of fantasy world where, some kind of disaster happened where all these monsters took over and destroyed cities and hurt a lot of people. But here comes these great heroes of the day, and they killed off all these monsters, and everything went back to normal. But now all these monsters are here, you now need to find new food sources. So they trained this special elite unit of battle chefs. People who would have these combat skills to go out into the wilderness, fight off these monsters, and bring back all their body parts for food. It moved on to, as time went by, they moved on to it becoming a more kind of like celebrated event, like a global competition to find the best battle chef.
Sure. Okay.
And so it's a weird mishmash of a lot of cool kind of genres of gaming that you wouldn't expect to work so well.
So it's Cooking Mama RPG?
Cooking Mama? I don't know, maybe a little bit. There is some great kind of very fluid side-scrolling platform hack and slash action, and a little bit of RPG elements to it, and match three kind of puzzling. So you go out into the wilderness, you scrounge up all of your ingredients from body parts and plants and stuff, and you bring them back, and you throw it all into a pot, and as they land in the pot, they are represented in like different kind of elements of gems that you will match three to combine and get the most points, and that will make a meal that you then
it's bejeweled with dank lore.
Yeah, and then you kind of pass on this finished meal to the judge, and he will judge you because your character is taking part in like this kind of this grading process to be recognized as a battle chef.
Of course.
Yeah.
As you do.
There's a lot of great points to this game, bar other than the game mechanics. It has some really top quality, really well done voice acting. Every character that speaks is super charming and interesting to listen to. The art style is very reminiscent of Avatar: Legend of Korra, which I personally love. I thought that was fantastic. The character is a strong yet plucky female, and there's a lot of fun, kind of warmth and heart to the game. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty deep for a.
I was looking up some
game.
some screenshots while you were explaining the game, and it really looks quite lovely and original.
Yep.
Sounds like it's $20 from what I saw, but worth the price of admission. Then I take it.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Good fit for the Switch.
I did, yes, and it works quite well even on a handheld. But the art style is very crisp. And there's none of that kind of muddiness. It's all very beautiful, simple palettes. But yeah, really fun.
Cool. Yeah,
I haven't actually played it on full screen yet, just only handheld.
Yeah, but this is the kind of art style that scales really well, I think.
I've seen a bunch of manga here in Japan that in recent years that are about like adventurers going into the wild and killing monsters to eat them.
Yeah,
so I guess it's
an anime.
It's a theme.
Manga kind of things similar to it. I've tried to watch one of those episodes, and for me, it's a little bit too grotesque. Because it's just like,
okay.
We're just gonna go out and butcher these animals, yum yum. I'm like, whoa, Jesus. It's like, if you're gonna go out and hunt for stuff, have a bit more respect for the animal when you do it. But that show, I can't remember what the hell it was called, but it was just
I don't
a little
remember
bit on
either.
the nose.
But yeah, I've seen. Apparently, it's a thing now.
Yes, it is a thing. Battle Chef is also doing that thing, but I think it's doing it in a very, very charming way.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not usually into those kinds of puzzle games, but I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah,
It
it's
seems
like that.
Polar was interested.
It's not the entirety of the game.
Yeah.
The combat for sure is kind of equal measure, but it's a really good story driven game.
Really?
All right.
I was kind of not expecting that part to
No,
be
it's a
as well
bit.
developed as it is, but yeah,
Mm.
really an all-round experience then.
Yes, yeah. They've balanced every aspect of it really quite well. Yeah,
Sweet.
sweet.
All right.
Sweet.
Well, on that sweet note, I think it's about time
we head
for
off to
us
bed.
to go to bed. Ha! Figuratively. And sleep for a week until we come back into your earballs with a new episode of Game Honey. Go into hibernation. It is winter after all, and this is a bear-themed podcast still for some reason.
Yeah.
Thank you all very much for listening to episode 85 of Game Honey. Thank you very much in particular to Adam Bolton for being our guest again this week.
Yay, no problem.
Adam, where can people find you?
Yeah, once again, it's at Ads in Japan, ADSIN Japan. Please follow.
Ads in Japan.
I'm nice. I might swear a lot on Twitter, but I'm really a nice guy.
I have met Adam on several occasions, and I can confirm that he is nice.
Yay.
So take my word for it.
He didn't swear a lot at you.
Adam has the Game Honey baby seal of approval as well.
Nice.
And thanks, of course, as well to my co-host, Polar. Where can people find you?
You're welcome. They can find me at KumagumaPolar on Twitter, where I am distraught about Xenoblade resolutions, among other things.
Yeah, I saw your tweets.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. He really is devastated.
They were quite sad. So go and cheer Polar up on Twitter, please. And you can find me at Tayo Inc. on Twitter. You can find us as a podcast, as a collective, if you will, at Game Honey Game. Also on Twitter, you can send us an email. You can send that email to game.honeys with an S at the end at gmail.com. You can find us everywhere on Libsyn, on
Player FM.
iTunes, on
Player FM. It's called Apple Podcasts
Player
now,
FM.
by the way.
Yes. Oh, yeah. All the places. So just Google Game Honey Podcast and see what comes up. Maybe it's us. Who knows? And you can also check out some videos here and there over on the Tayo Inc. YouTube channel. Like we said last week, Polar did a great video on Super Mario Odyssey. So go check that out if you haven't yet.
I will.
On youtube.com.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it? Go check
No,
it out.
I'll
It's
go
pretty
check
good.
it out too.
Yeah. So that's on the Tayo Inc. YouTube channel. So go and check that out. So once again, thank you guys very much for listening to Game Honey this week. We hope to see you all again next week. And until then, thank you very much for listening. And bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.